Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, November 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let's just take a look at what the United States National Hurricane Center is showing on their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We can see that that area that had a high chance of possible tropical cyclone development now has a medium chance. It has gone down to about 40%. According to the Hurricane Center, states disorganized showers and thunderstorms over the central Caribbean Sea are associated with a trough of low pressure. Environmental conditions could become a little more conducive for development in a day or two, and a tropical depression could form when the system moves over the southwestern Caribbean Sea during the latter part of this week. Regardless of development, this system has the potential to produce heavy rains over portions of Central America late this week and into the weekend. And if we even take a look at what the EPS, that's the Euro model, is showing for the system, it still has this system as maybe becoming a tropical depression as indicated by the blues, then maybe intensifying into a tropical storm as indicated by the greens, and even some of the members try to make it up to hurricane status. That's on the Euro ensembles. What does the GFS ensembles show? The GFS ensembles show that there is more agreement in that the system will be moving towards the south and west, and maybe making it up to tropical depression status later on within the next 24 hours. Then we see some greens that represent tropical storm status, and even some yellows in there as it possibly slams into sections of Nicaragua. So definitely some amount of consensus, even although we have some contrast, we have some differences. Some of these members making it close up to maybe the Western Caribbean. Some of the models making it closer to Central America right there, maybe Nicaragua. Either way, we have to stay updated to see exactly what unfolds. And we can see that as it relates to the intensity, some of these models actually make it up into tropical storm status within the next 48 to 72 hours. So we need to see exactly what unfolds. The next 48 hours should be around, let's say, late Friday into Saturday. So let us just stay updated as best as we possibly can. As it relates to what the Euro model is showing in terms of the rainfall, we still have a lot of greens across portions of the Central Caribbean to experience. This is valid for Thursday moving into Friday. Then by Saturday we start to see it dwindling by around 00 on Sunday. That's about 7 p.m. on Saturday Jamaica time. What does the GFS model show? We can see much of the same. Lots of greens that represent moisture across the Caribbean Thursday into Friday. Then as we head into Saturday and Sunday, so this is valid for 12 on Sunday, which is actually 7 a.m. on Sunday, we can see that much of that rainfall starts to dwindle, less in the way of rainfall for the island. So we do have some moment of consensus, even although we have some contrast, we have some differences, so we just have to stay updated to see exactly what unfolds. Let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see numerous broken lines across portions of the southwestern and northern portion of the Atlantic associated with multiple troughs of low pressure. And we can also see that blue line right there that represents a cold front across portions of the Bahamas, the western tip of Cuba, and the western Caribbean. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with those troughs across the Atlantic, even that trough of low pressure across the Caribbean. And we can also see the clouds associated with that cold front across sections of the Bahamas, Cuba, and the Gulf of Mexico. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean's weather later on. Let's focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today. So the forecast was for some amount of rainfall across sections of central and eastern parishes in Jamaica, especially during the afternoon. And we know central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex. Eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. And some of this rainfall even spilled into sections of some western parishes as well. If we actually take a look at what was posted at 2:40 a.m. on our Twitter page, keep in mind that this wasn't only posted on our Twitter page but our Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok pages as well. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make many posts as opposed to what we post here on our YouTube page. So we can see that as early as 2:40 a.m. we had all of these clouds still bringing some amount of thunderstorm activity across sections of the island, and this was what triggered the Meteorological Service of Jamaica to issue a flash flood warning for the island, especially across sections of some eastern and couple central parishes right there, St. Mary as well as St. Catherine as well. And we can also see that another post was made at 5:55 a.m. highlighting the very same infrared satellite images showing clouds bringing some amount of thunderstorms in section of eastern Jamaica, so definitely St. Thomas, Portland, section of northern Jamaica, St. Mary, St. Anne got in on some of that. Then in the afternoon hours, keep in mind that this was posted at 4:10 p.m. so majority of the day in general was more cloudy than rainy, especially across central and western Jamaica. But in the late afternoon, we started to get in on some amount of the rainfall, as we saw on the Cuban Doppler radar images, a lot of greens and yellows that represent light to moderate and even heavy rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. And we even had confirmation of this rainfall during the late afternoon. Shani on her Twitter page stating rain in Twickenham Park, hearing thunder in the distance. Cheryl Fisher stating thunder and just starting to rain in Portmore. And Sherry Walsh stating raining in my neck of the woods. Lara Ebanks raining here on side of St. Andrew. Portmore Bell stating Greater Portmore got some just now, don't mind getting more. Thompson Curry stating rain in Kingston East side. So that indeed confirms the rainfall that we got across the island for today. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can see that low level flow coming in more from the east northeast, and a lot of high level cloud cover across the island. And we can see the high level cloud cover even better on the infrared satellite images, which by the way, if we reload the pages, we can see that we're still getting in on some amount of evening thunderstorm activity across sections of southern Manchester, St. Elizabeth, as well at the end of this run. And we can also see the confirmation on the Cuban Doppler radar images, the latest Cuban Doppler radar images showing that rainfall trying to exit portions of St. Elizabeth as we speak. And we can also see a lot more rainfall to the east of the island, much of which is going to be making its way westward as the night progresses. So we're definitely going to be in for some more rainfall tonight into tomorrow. Taking a look at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this does indeed paint a picture of where we had the rainfall across the island for today, even although the rainfall totals might not be as much as what these maps are showing. We do see that yes, we indeed had that rainfall that was predicted for sections of eastern, central, and even spilling into sections of western Jamaica. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can still have 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and by 3 a.m. on Thursday, temperature should dip down to 25 degrees Celsius in both Kingston and Montego Bay. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see Jamaica embedded in some yellows for the most part, and even some slight oranges that represent 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. We can also see that drastic amount of below normal temperatures behind that cold front that we saw on the surface map. We can see those blues, those greens, even purples across portions of the Gulf of Mexico, southeastern United States. Hopefully some of that makes it down into the Jamaica area this weekend. So we can see, yes, up to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. That's what we're in store for tomorrow. We know the average temperatures for the month of November in Jamaica is about 88 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's about the equivalent of 30 degrees Celsius. So you should be receiving 30 to 32 degrees Celsius at most, as we can see here on the thermometer. Taking a look at the dry air map, we can see that majority of the Caribbean, including Jamaica, has a lot of moist air. The dry air is represented by the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the white within those reds, and we don't see that across Jamaica at all. Majority of the dry air is across the Gulf of Mexico, where we have the cold air, cold sinking air that is brought about by the cold front, to the Gulf of Mexico, off the east coast of the United States, not to mention the northern portions of the North Atlantic. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Thursday, we do see that some of the browns that represent Saharan dust is starting to make its way closer to Haiti, Dominican Republic, maybe even making its way closer to Jamaica. But the thing is, this is on the low end of the scale in terms of Saharan dust intensity. What we don't want to see is the large plume of dust and even the darker shades of bronze that we know we can see in the atmosphere, causing the hazy skies, not to mention triggering some amount of asthma or sinusitis issue. So we're in the clear as relates to Jamaica for 2 p.m. on Thursday. As relates to the wave forecast, we can see that for the most part we're getting in on some more dark blue colors that represent 1 to 1.5 for meter wave heights. And why is that? The winds are back. We're gonna be seeing some winds coming in from the east for tomorrow. We can see those bright greens, so we're definitely going to be getting up to 15 to 20 knot winds. Look at that. We even see some yellows right there off to the south of the island that represent close to 25 knot winds as well. So it's definitely going to be windy, and we can see that that air is definitely going to be piling up across sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. So there might be some amount of late afternoon rainfall. And we can see that if we take a look at the precipitation forecast, and I want you all to take this with a grain of salt. So the models have been showing rainfall, and the rainfall is not really verifying. That's the thing about these troughs. The troughs are very unpredictable. There are times when the troughs will bring about some unexpected tremendous rainfall, and then there are times when even the models get it very wrong, seeing rainfall in the forecast and then it does not verify. That's how these troughs behave at times. So we have to be on our guard each and every time. We don't know when the actual tremendous rainfall will come, but the prediction is there, and there's a trough within the vicinity of Jamaica, so it is very much possible. Either way, take these forecasts with a grain of salt. It could happen, it might not happen. We might wake up tomorrow and seeing the place underwater. We might wake up tomorrow and the sun is out. That's the thing about these troughs. They are very tricky. There are countless times in the past when we have troughs affecting Jamaica and we get some unexpected tremendous rainfall, and then the flash flood warnings come in too late when the damage is already done. So what we need to do is that there's a lot of troughing happening right now, areas of low pressure, and these are what the forecast models are showing for 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 a.m. Jamaica time. And look what we see. We see a lot of blues and even greens surrounding the island, especially on the north and eastern side of the island, from both the Euro and the GFS models that represent a lot of rainfall for that time period. Skipping ahead to about 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7 a.m. Jamaica time, much of the same northern and eastern parishes in Jamaica, especially with those blues that represent rainfall. And then skipping ahead to about the latter part of the day, about 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 5 p.m. Jamaica time, we still see much of the same in terms of the blues that represent rainfall, but now it's confined to sections of some southern coastal areas as well as sections of some eastern parishes in Jamaica. So we'll see exactly what unfolds. We know how these things go. Maybe these maps are even showing more in the way of cloud cover more than anything else, and for the past couple of days we've been experiencing more in the way of a lot of cloud cover, not to mention thunderstorm activity with some dew or drizzle taking place. So the atmosphere is kind of ripe, but not so 100%. So we'll see exactly what unfolds. And we can see that even both the Euro and the GFS accumulated precipitation forecasts are showing some contrast, some differences. You can see the GFS going bonkers with the amount of rainfall that's expected across Jamaica for the next 24 hours. Keep in mind that these maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on a Thursday. And we can see that the GFS is a bit more robust as it relates to the location. Definitely sections of eastern, central, and western parishes is what the GFS is showing. The Euro is showing more in the way of, let's say, the eastern portion of the island, especially, not so much the western portions as we can see dwindling. But as it relates to the rainfall totals, the Euro is showing up to 0.77 of an inch of rainfall, especially on the northeastern side of the island. That's the Euro. The GFS is showing 1.66 for the totals, and that is mainly across the north. So we'll see exactly what unfolds. We're indeed grateful for the rainfall. We're stepping into the month of November. We usually receive a decrease in the rainfall, even although the long range maps in our video yesterday were showing more in the way of rainfall for sections of Jamaica for the month of November. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get before we head into our very dry months or period from December to April, where we really don't get much rainfall across the Jamaica area. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's take a look at the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see a lot of clouds bringing some amount of thunderstorm activities. Sections of Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, El Salvador, sections of Nicaragua, Honduras, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, sections of especially northern and southern Venezuela, and we can also see some low-level patches of clouds coming into sections of the eastern Caribbean, and we can see it even better on the Doppler radar images. We know Doppler radar images show the actual rainfall, as opposed to some satellite images. We can have cloud cover around here and not necessarily rainfall. We do see that rainfall right there between the Dominican Republic and Haiti right now. You can also see that right now we have some amount of rainfall dancing around the islands of Anguilla and Barbuda. Definitely sections of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, especially east of Barbados. Taking a look at the Barbados radar, we can see all of that rainfall coming in from the east. Definitely sections of the islands getting in on some rainfall tonight. Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. Even sections of Trinidad and Tobago, especially the eastern side of Trinidad. Not to mention majority of Tobago getting in on some amount of rainfall tonight into tomorrow. As it relates to the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall that we just mentioned across sections of Mexico, Belize, sections of Guatemala. Not to mention that rainfall that we mentioned across sections of Venezuela, the ABC Islands right there to the north. All of that rainfall associated with Invest 97L. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, you can see that for the most part, majority of the eastern Caribbean should be getting average temperatures, as we don't see any blues or much in the way of yellows across the region. We do see the yellows that represent above normal temperatures across the Greater Antilles. Taking a look at the sarin dust forecast, yes, we're definitely in for some amount of slight sarin dust across the northern and eastern Caribbean right there, stretching all the way into the main development region and Africa, but it won't be that noticeable or robust to cause hazy skies or trigger some amount of allergic reaction in people at all, considering that the plume is not that robust. As it relates to the wave forecast, we can see that for the most part, majority of the Caribbean should be averaging anywhere from 1 to at least 2 meter wave heights, especially the 2 meter wave heights across the western Caribbean, where the waves are going to be kicked up because of the strong winds brought about by the cold front, as we can see by those yellows across those spots, while the rest of the Caribbean should be getting in on some easterly winds, averaging anywhere from, let's say, 15 to 20 or maybe gusting 25 knots at most. As it relates to the rainfall forecast now, we do see, let's see if I can load up the other model so that we have the comparison from the Euro and the GFS. So definitely we see for ourselves that both the Euro and the GFS are showing the amount of rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday across the Caribbean. And we do see that we have consensus agreement across sections of Bahamas, sections of Cuba, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, sections of the ABC Islands, anywhere from Guadeloupe, southward Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, sections of Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago. You can also see that rainfall right there across sections of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala. Definitely a lot of rainfall, tremendous rainfall expected for Belize, northwestern Honduras as well. And we know that when both maps are showing something similar like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.